Start with a short introduction to AIS data and the AIS handbook that the AIS task team has developed. This introduction is really just a short introduction to the data. We had a longer introduction to the data in the last training, which is also available online and was a prerequisite for this whole week. But just as a small reminder, what is AIS data in general? The International Maritime Organization developed the automatic identification system as a tracking system for ships originally developed for collision avoidance. So the idea was to have a safer space in the maritime regions. And what happens is that every few seconds, AIS equipment on the ships automatically broadcasts data signals over very high frequency radios. And what you can see is that this happens both across ships, but also from the ships to either AIS satellite network receivers or AIS receivers on the land, so land-based AIS receivers. And in 2017, there were even over 100,000 internationally registered ships for which AIS data is picked up. So you can get signals of a high amount of ships. And the closer these ships are to the coast and to a port, there's also a higher amount of ships and thus a higher amount of signals. And in order to ensure that each vessel can broadcast its data on the radio frequency, not used at the same time by another vessel, AIS uses time slices that you can see in the bottom. So each AIS transmission fits into a designated time slot, for which each second can be divided to up to 2,250 such slots. This is just to ensure that they don't miss any signal from the ships, or hopefully don't miss any signal of the ships. Then these raw signals are collected and aggregated by a maritime data aggregator before we as a data user use the data. So what we see in the end is not the raw data, but it's already aggregated by a maritime data aggregator and maybe even cleaned by another organization. So that's so far as just an idea what AIS data actually is. And then we come to the handbook that I was talking about. So the idea or the one target of this AIS task team is the development of a handbook. And this handbook is supposed to help to standardize the handling of AIS data and also hopefully the calculation of AIS indicators. Because especially in official statistics, it's important that we have comparable data, because otherwise we cannot compare the indicators across countries or across ports. And this handbook is in form of a wiki, and at the moment it's under development, even though we already have a good structure and also a lot of content. It can continuously be developed and enlarged, depending on who can add maybe another use case or another indicator, more code. So it is under continuous development. And now we will have a look at this handbook. Can you see that?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is the outline of the AIS handbook that is developed by the AIS task team. And what you can see is that it gives some information about the scope of the whole document. It gives an introduction not only to AIS data, but also to the global working group and the AIS task team. Then we have a more detailed overview of the AIS dataset, way more detailed than what I've just shown. We will have something about the data cleaning, which is still under development at the moment. We have a page that gives an overview of different case studies. A lot of these case studies will also be captured in this AIS Data Week. Then there's a part which shows a special application on AIS indicators for trade. And this also helps not only to understand the AIS indicators for trade, but also how to use the AIS data at the global platform. And then we have a part which discusses future work. And to just see, maybe we can have a look on the overview of the AIS datasets page. So there's an introduction, there's a more detailed description, what was the convention, where it was decided that the IMO wants to have this AIS data. There's more information about what kind of information is actually sent in these signals. So we have static information, dynamic information, and voyage-related information. And they are also sent in different frequencies, depending on if the vessel is moving or if it's anchored. So you get more information about the signal itself. The same here you get like what is a typical AIS message types. So here you get way more information about what the data looks like, what it contains. And to have a look at one other page, because this is especially interesting for this AIS data week, is the different case studies. So what you see is that AIS data is really used in different fields of research. And here we have the fast economic indicators. This is what I already talked about, where we show the code, for example. It's indicators that help to describe trade. But then we also have, for example, fishery activities, or the nowcasting is also in trade. But for example, also the ships in distress. So you can really see that this is used in different fields. And we do strongly recommend that you have a look at this handbook so that you're well prepared for the upcoming presentations.